inside was curated to switch the narrative, to show that it's never too late to shift your mindset, heal your heart, and live the life that you truly desire. Sis, you are magic. You just haven't discovered it yet. But in order to get to the goal, you have to do a little bit of digging, getting through all the hard stuff to allow your true self to shine. Because yes, you are beautiful. But how is your soul really feeling? Are you fine on the inside? Hey y'all, welcome back to Fine on the Inside. This is your girl Jazz, and I am here with my girl Candace.
Hey.
Candace, thank you so much for coming.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
No problem. So y'all, Candace, she is an essential oil specialist. She is a healer, a domestic violence survivor.
Yes.
And just a great person overall. So thank you for coming.
Absolutely. Much love.
Yes. And I just want to give you your flowers because I feel like we only knew each other probably like a month so far since the event.
Yeah, right.
But I already feel like I kind of know you. You know what I mean? Like, your energy is great. Every time we talk, it's just like a good vibe.
I feel the same.
Yeah, me too. So yeah, thank you for coming. So pretty much I just want to start off with two little icebreakers.
Yeah.
You know, just getting the vibes going. And then I'm going to just have you tell us a little bit about yourself, okay?
Okay.
So, you know, you're essential oil specialist. So the first one is, what's your go-to essential oil or scent for relaxation, healing, and how does it help you unwind?
So I don't really have like a go-to. For me, it's just like sometimes my body will like be so attracted to like a scent, and then what I'll do is I'll like grab the scent, and then I'll grab my resources and find out what is it that's attracting me to the scent. Okay. And then I'll usually indicate some type of emotion that I'm feeling.
Oh, well. Okay.
And I'm like, oh, that's why I'm liking mine today, or that's why I'm liking this today.
Right.
So sometimes it's not just, I don't really have like a thing like I do every day, which I like because I'm not like a routine. Yeah, I know everybody's for like routine, but sometimes you gotta be spontaneous too.
I like that.
I love it. It's fun.
Is there like different smells that like trigger like different emotions?
That's a really good point. So sometimes we don't know what emotions we're experiencing.
Okay.
So that's why I wear perfume, you know, sometimes, but I usually just deal with essential oils or support like small businesses that use more like natural type of ingredients because it's all healing. Yeah. You might not know the emotion that you're feeling at the time, but when you pick up the scent or when you smell it and you do your research or you consult with somebody that may know, then you'll be able to indicate like, oh, I needed this because I was actually feeling really sad today, or I needed this because maybe I'm overactive, and I needed this to kind of calm me down. So
nice. Okay. That's crazy. Like, we don't even really peep, like, you know, how these essential oils can really like heal us and just, you know, aid in, you know, the support that we need while we're transitioning like through these emotions and all that. So I think that's dope.
It's interesting because I was reading a story, a mother, and she had a daughter, and she was like 2 years old and got severely burnt. She like accidentally pulled down a crock pot and burnt 3rd-degree burns. And so eventually as she grew older and had to deal with that, she became numb to all pain.
Oh, wow.
Numb to everything, like no reaction, which is not good. Yeah. You want to be able to feel. So what the essential oils did for her is they helped her to feel the pain. Oh, wow. Even though it wasn't good to feel the pain at the moment, but it brought it out so that she could acknowledge it and heal from it. And then it literally transformed her life. Wow. Yeah. So like imagine, you know, with the pharmaceuticals, we take those, they don't really deal with the core issue, but they do cover up the pain. Yeah. And they do like take away your headache or your muscle joint pain or whatever you may be dealing with. But sometimes you gotta feel it. Yeah. You gotta feel it. Yeah. To know what you're doing. Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah. But from an emotional aspect, not so much of a health aspect, because I'm not against like doctors. Yeah. I would never say, oh, don't go see a doctor. Or don't listen to your healthcare provider, but emotionally, you know, we'll get into that a little bit more. Sometimes you gotta feel the pain. You gotta feel that pain, know where something's coming from. Like, that's one of the things, you know, like I got the journals, but like in the back, so I put like different like
questions for like the shadow work, and it's just like I feel like that is kind of like the saying, like you don't know where the pain is like really coming from. You gotta like deal with that. Yes. And to heal from it. Like we don't want to. A lot of us like numb it out. We put it to the back of our minds, but it's like we gotta understand, like, yeah, we gotta deal with all that to, evolve and to heal and to get to where we need to be. So
a lot of times when I'm working out, which is one of the things I appreciate about like doing my exercise routines at home, because it teaches me how to breathe through my nose and out, right? But at the same time, sometimes I might cry during a workout session.
Yeah,
it's very therapeutic.
That's crazy because I just was at sound bath, Reiki, and hypnosis workshop, and I thought it was just gonna be just like straight meditation, but like I was in there crying, and I'm like, damn, I didn't even realize there was some stuff that I didn't realize that I was still dealing with that brought some stuff out, and I'm like, damn, I needed to feel that. Like I'm so, I'm thinking like, oh, I got these answers and this and that, and I'm healed. Like, I know we're never fully healed. We always got stuff to work on, but that really like brought a lot of things to the front, and like allowed me to see like, damn, like girl, you got some more stuff to work on.
It's a journey for sure. It's a never ending process, but I think the goal is to always be aware, like, am I stagnant in my growth, or do I feel myself progressing? No,
for sure. Okay, so the second question is, if you could describe your ideal day of self-care, what would it look like?
So my ideal things, or what I feel like I'm more productive, is waking up 2 hours before I start my day, before anybody else is up in my house. Then I like to either do like a face mask, or I'll put on a podcast. I have to make my bed up, like that has to be.
Me too.
I can't.
I used to not do that, but
like it needs to be like made up somewhat. I like to have like a cup of warm tea. Sometimes I'll just literally go in the bathroom and like look out my window, listen to the birds chirp. Nice, so it can look a little bit different, but generally like waking up, the main thing I would say is giving myself enough time. Because sometimes, like when you wake up, or when you're in the middle of waking up, your mind is telling you like, girl, you can sleep another hour, or, and then by the time I wake up, it's time for me to start work, and that really spikes my anxiety. I'm like, nah.
You feel like you gotta rush and stuff.
I don't like that, because you never know what can come up. My mind is like really creative, so I can get like a whole bunch of ideas that I need to deal with, but if I'm rushing, then it just creates anxiety for me. So the main thing I would say for me is waking up 2 hours prior to starting my day.
Okay, I love that. One thing I always used to say is like, being able to have like a slow morning, like being able to like make my kids like breakfast and not even rush them, because the way how they start their day matters too. Like sometimes I'll wake up late and I'm like, all right, yo, come on, like we're late, blah blah blah, and it's like nobody wants to wake up like that. You know what I mean? I had to like check myself, like you're starting their day, so make sure you start your day. Okay, do what you gotta do, have what you need, so that way you can also give them like a slow, chill morning. They don't want to have all that anxiety and rush and all that. You know what I mean? So.
And I think that's a good point that you bring up, because what a part of my healing and realizing the things that I had to find out now is that a lot of that came from childhood. So you can help, ease your children's way of life. Then I would say go for it.
I think that's really important for real. Because I feel like a lot of the things that I've been through stem from like childhood and like how I was raised, and I didn't even realize it at first until I'm like, you know what? Okay, I remember this, and that. I'm like, okay, that's where that's coming from. So and we're not perfect, so
no.
Sometimes I find myself like, damn, like I wonder if there's anything that I'm doing that my kids are gonna have to heal from. You know what I mean? And I'm sure there is. But I'm just trying, we just have to just try our best to do what we know. You only could do what you know at the time, you know what I mean? So if you can make those better choices now, it's like, why not do it?
To the best of your ability.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes. So A lot of people always get confused with my nationality, so I guess I'll share that.
Okay, yeah.
So my dad is Indian and Spanish, and my mom is more in the whites. The Caucasian, the Italian, the Germans, and all that. And her dad is African American.
Okay.
So. I might be a little Asian. I don't know.
Period.
But
you do like Asian.
I know, it's alright, but I embrace it. Yeah. It's cool. But so what else about me? I'm 39. Okay. I'm very business oriented. I love to collaborate with other people. I'm a free spirit, meaning I don't like to be boxed in to one way of thinking or doing things. Mm-hmm. And I could pretty much fit in with any type of culture. Yeah, which I really love about myself. Yeah. I am a mother. I'm single right now. Okay. I'm single right now, and I'm embracing that. I feel like as when you're younger, I know for me when I was younger, I don't know why my mind automatically went into wanting to be in a relationship. Yeah. So young. Oh my God. Yeah. And I feel like at that time, that's when I should have been really cultivating and finding out who I am, but all things happen for a reason. Yes, yeah. So, those are a little bit of things about me. I've been doing essential oils. I started essential oils from someone that I know who introduced them to me, and I just immediately how it's love at first sight. I was fell in love. Wow, with that, and I always knew I was going to be in business. It's just I didn't really know how. I love to learn. I love learning, and I love just exploring different ways to live life. Yeah. I love that. And your energy is everything. So I told you, it feels like we already knew each other. So I could definitely tell you got a great vibe. So thank you. I love that. So I know when I first talked to you at Janice's Walking into Wellness, we talked about domestic violence, and you told me you're a domestic violence survivor. So I just wanted to tap into that because I feel like a lot of people deal with domestic violence. It affects your mental health. Mm-hmm. It affects you in so many ways. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to dig into that. How do you feel domestic violence affected you? How did it impact your mental health and your emotional well-being during and after your experience? Well, first of all, I didn't even realize it affected me. I feel like it took me a long time, up until now, because I feel like part of the trauma was that I was downplaying the fact that those things happened to me. Because it first started with sexual abuse at a young age. And then that turned into me then ending up in situations where they weren't the best for me. Yeah. That involved verbal abuse, physical abuse. The therapies as a child, was more traumatizing because I'm a child and I'm having to answer these questions by therapists and go to court and do all these things. And then So I feel like a part of my coping mechanism that I didn't realize that I had was acting like it didn't exist. Yeah. I would be like, well, listen, it wasn't that bad. It happened to this person this way. It didn't happen to me this way. She got fully penetrated. I just got fondled, so it's not a big deal. Not understanding that it was really impacting me really deeply. So, Wow. Yeah. I'm sorry you had to even go through that. As a child, it's well, I can't necessarily say if I'm sorry for it, just because I feel like it was supposed to be a part of my story, even though it's so hideous. Wow, and it's I feel like now I can acknowledge, with the emotion is I'm pissed off that this person or that these people took that from me, took a piece of my innocence from me, and then I now have to overcome all these things because of it. Now I gotta do the work for that. But I can either choose to be mad or I can choose to work through it in a different way. Right. and like I'm determined. Like I'm like, I don't know if you ever heard this on Dangerous Minds, the movie. Mm-mm. The one, it's a poem, but it was saying, when I go, I will not lay myself down to die. When I go to my grave, my head will be high. Period. Yo. Oh my God. Yo. Period. And that's not saying it in like a way of like, I know it all. It's in a way of like, I persevered. I got through this. Yeah. I'm resilient. I made sure that, and I know we're going to get into this later, I didn't stay in a victim mentality. Right. You know, I made sure that even when I didn't know my purpose, I was asking divine, like, what is it that you want? Yeah, leave me. You know, even when it comes to my name on Instagram is Created New, and I've been had that name for years. In the midst of me trying to release myself from the last and final situation for me, it was like divine was like, I know how you feel, but this is your name, Created New. I had no idea what it was going to be. But I'm like, yo, I'm going to be, all that is just, it's about to be different.
And that's one of the things I stress with, like, you know, life, period. Like, it's never too late to change the narrative. You know what I mean? You could have lived the whole way your whole life. But at this point today, if you say, I don't want to be in a situation, I don't want to be a victim, I don't want to let this stuff happen to me, whatever, you can change that, you know what I mean? And I feel like sometimes people think like, oh, I'm stuck, I'm like 40 years old, or I'm this age and I can't do nothing, but you really can. You can start over any time, and that's like the beauty of life. And I love how you said, like, you know, like, you're not really sorry for it, because it's like, maybe this is supposed to be a part of your story. Like, you are supposed to help somebody else that's going through it, or, you know, something that somebody else can't voice, or anything, you know, you're helping somebody else heal, or, you know, just your story in general. Like, everything is for a greater purpose. And it's like, we might not understand it. It might be stuff that brings us pain and sorrow and everything, but everything really is working out for us. That's one thing, like, I just always, like, stress. And it's like, sometimes we really don't understand why those things happen to us, but it's like, it's for a reason.
And speaking of being a voice for somebody else, one of the situations that I was in, the person, the predator, he was actually, you know, doing that towards his own daughter. So by him doing that to me, when my mom came, you know, at that time, I would say I was very much more confident at that time. When my mom came and got me, I said something right away. Right. I was like, Mom, like, and I told her, and I was able to get the girl out of the situation. And she seen me like years down the line. She was just like, you know, thanked me for. But I can admit that over the years, between identity crisis that I had, when people were not feeling like I fit in, you know, I don't speak Spanish. I didn't really fit in with the Caucasians. I didn't fit in with, you know, the kids around the way. Right. So I had like a identity crisis of that, and then just dealing with so many other things. I definitely felt like my self-esteem and confidence was dwindling away, little by little by little by little. So those are all the things I had to acknowledge during this process.
Yeah, and being able to acknowledge that, you know, there's so many steps to like healing, you know what I mean? And the first one is awareness, you know what I mean? Being aware of what's not working for us, being aware of what is working for us, and then taking accountability of what we can do to fix it. So you being able to just see, you know, like being aware of all that, that was like the first step there. So
knowing how to regulate your nervous system, because if you think back to, I remember when I first had that like freeze. You ever have like a freeze moment where it's like somebody do something and you like,
yes,
right, and you like a loss for words, right? So then at some point I feel like we subconsciously store it somewhere in our body, and we don't never let it out. So it just like sits there. So that emotion, those emotions just sit there until we can acknowledge it.
Yeah.
Which is a part of setting boundaries and voicing.
Yeah. No, that's crazy you said that, because I used to deal with that. Like, I used to deal with panic attacks, but my panic used to be like freeze mode. Any emergency, anything, I wouldn't even be able to, like, and I work in the healthcare field, so if it's like an emergency or something, I'm freezing up. I'm like, girl, you can't be freezing up. You gotta save somebody's life. But I had to work through that because it was really affecting me, like my nervous system. It was just all over the place, and I had to like really get down, like, what's going on. Like, I wasn't feeling safe, you know. It was just a lot going on in my mind that I really didn't even pay attention to until I was in like those moments where I'm like, damn, like, this is crazy.
Like, this is not, this is
right.
Not,
like,
this is not a vibe.
Right.
This is not.
It's not. So, can you share what was a turning point for you when you realized like you needed to leave your situation?
It's funny. Well, I'm not saying funny and not like ha ha ha, but it's interesting that all of my situations that I've dealt with, it wasn't necessarily me leaving. I would previously, I'm not gonna go to my last one just yet. Okay. But previously, I remember I had prayed. I'm like, God, please. This is when I was still like not spiritually as mature as I am now. Yeah. But so I just knew how to say, please, God, you know, like, I just really need your help. Like, I'm not strong enough to get out of this. Like, I need. Well, he had him. Well, spirit, divine intervention, however you choose to say, had him break up with me. Okay. I was like, wow. No. Hold up. Not like this. Right. I just wanted him to stop drawing. Even though he was cheating, even though he was doing all these things, physical abuse, all that, I was like, no, not like this. Right. But it's just like, sometimes, you know, if you don't have the strength, it'll be other things put in place that kind of like force you. Yes. Like, oh my God, that's so true. It will force you, like they say, like, if you don't let go, God will let go for you. Like, He will really. Especially when you know you're divinely guided and protected. So you can't turn a blind eye. No. And it's crazy because you probably was like, once he broke up with you, you probably were like wanting to like reach out to him, like, the insecurity, the low self-esteem. Yeah. Will definitely have you doing that when you don't know. Yeah, and then it's like when you have that trauma bond, or like when you have like anxious attachments and all that, you're like, damn. Yes, like you're like, oh, I wanted you to stop doing this, or I wanted to break up with you, but it's like now you're breaking up with me. It's like, oh no, I need to get you back. Like, oh, I need to get you back. I need to do this, and that fucks with your mental too. It's so much that goes into it, and we don't even understand. Like, we be thinking like we healed, like, yeah, I'm breaking up with this person, blah, blah, blah. But it's like when those triggers or, you know, those things we didn't deal with, once again, like, come up, it's like, yeah, I didn't even know. Now I just had to deal with this toxic shit in my life no more, and now I'm trying to bring it back. It's like, what's going on? Yeah, but it happened just the way it happened. And then, and before I get to my last situation, what you'll realize is when you look back at the people that you dealt with, like, I've seen, you know, my exes. And I'm looking back and I'm like, dang, I probably would have been, what's her name from off of Friday? Felicia? Yeah. Running around chasing him. Because he still is in the same place. Oh my God, girl, yeah. Still in the same place where I avowed. Yeah. Thinking you was missing out on something, but it's like, I would have got stuck there. That's like, I've been saying that all the time, like, thank you God for not keeping me stuck. Because, like, if I would have stayed with certain people, or I would have been stuck in like a certain relationship where I wasn't able to thrive, you know what I mean? Like, now I'm doing what I love, you know what I mean? I feel like not everybody wants to see you be great, especially like when you're dealing with narcissists and people like that, you know what I mean? Like, they don't want you to be great. Some people be in competition with you, or some people just be evil, period. Or, you know what I mean? Because I have a very like compassionate side of me too, which I feel like that has been trying to been like that compassionate side of me has been trying to be taken away. Yeah. And I'm like, no, I'm gonna keep my compassionate side. I'm gonna keep my heart open. And so what I say for this is, sometimes when we deal with people who are abusive towards us, whether it be sexually, physically, you know, as far as like, you know, hitting, or verbally, you know, it's easier to look at them and like kind of just like talk about it in a way to, oh, he ain't this,
like
this, that, and that, this, that, and that.
Yeah.
Sometimes people are just not in the space to really face whatever traumas they may have been through when they were younger. And, you know, it's very unfortunate. However, as much as I might care, I have to also understand that I'm a priority, and I can keep you from over here. Yeah. But I know that if I bring you into a certain point in my life and my personal space, it's not going to be good. I wish the best for you. I want the best for you. Yeah. But it's just not. It's not going to work.
Yeah, I had to learn that the hard way. I had to learn that the hard way because like you said, like just trying to show compassion for people. Because once you do start to heal yourself, you start to see like, all right, well maybe they did that to me because they went through this, and that, and then it's like you kind of, you know, you want to help them, heal and all that stuff. But like you said, like you got to make you a priority because it's like at the end of the day, just because somebody went through stuff, that doesn't really obligate you though to be the one to heal them. Like like pray for them, wish them the best, whatever you can do, but don't, you know, put yourself on the back burner for, you know, for them. You know what I mean? It's like you still gotta set those boundaries, make sure you're good always, because it's like, you know, they might not see where they need to heal from, but it's not up to you to, you know, keep putting yourself in danger, keep putting yourself in these situations that you know aren't good for you. So
I also believe that I'm a wounded healer, which means that I have the ability to still be in the process of healing myself while healing others. Yeah. And so, or helping people have the empowerment to heal themselves. I would like to say, because I'm all about empowerment, empowering other people to know that you have it inside of you. So with that being stated, I realize that sometimes we can meet people and it may be, you know, what you call trauma bond or whatever. It's like you having a relationship with your therapist. Right. You know, it's not always the best thing. Sometimes you gotta know where to draw the line. Right. And that takes time and getting to know people, but oftentimes we just jump in so quick. Yes. But you don't really meet the purpose of that relationship. Right. Like maybe and just because it's a male doesn't always mean it has to be a sexual thing. Right, yeah. Because maybe he's not in that space. Right. But instead of us taking the time to really see where that other person is, right, we just go right in. Yeah. Maybe your purpose isn't to be in a relationship with him. Maybe your purpose is to just drop some jewels. Right, yeah. Give them some tools and go about your way. But sometimes we be staying in places way too long. Yeah, but we know we're not supposed to be in them, but we like, you know what? And especially as healers, like... You want to know why? Because it's feeding a part of our insecurity. To make somebody else feel good. To know that we was able to make somebody else feel good and make us feel good. Not even understanding that we are where we are, with or without. Yes. I've experienced that. So like I noticed that I'm like, damn, like I really like I was talking to somebody and I'm like, damn, I realized like I love making people feel better. You know what I mean? It's like it just really like fuels me, but just understanding like just because, you know, you're like you said, you're dropping these gems or, you know, you're helping people heal or, you know, get through whatever they're going through. That doesn't mean that you gotta necessarily always jump into something more than, you know, I feel like we really be knowing when we're not supposed to take it there, and we still do. We still do. So just, you know, listen to our intuition and just knowing that, especially as like empaths and healers, it's like that's important because our energy. It's so easy for our energy to go so many different places, and then we're like, oh shoot, I didn't realize like I was drained or whatever. Yeah. So the last relationship that I was in now, I realized is after we were completely done. And I looked at myself in the mirror and I'm like, I'm alive but I'm dead at the same time. Some people have gray hairs because it's genetic. But I knew my gray hair after, because I'm an essential oil specialist, so I know that we have a thing called oxidative stress. Okay. And when you're exposed to so many things, it wears on yourself internally, on your cells, which speeds up the aging process.
Wow, I didn't know that.
So I realized that, damn, I'm alive but I'm dead at the same time. That was my turning point. I'm like, yo, like, this is serious. Yeah. You know, but I'm not going to give up. So that's when I decided to, like, really just get more in tune with me. Yeah. As a person.
So is that, like, when you, like, started, like, your healing journey and everything?
Yeah, I started my healing journey. It took me some time to really, like, sit down. I think it was actually one night I was sitting down and I was feeling anxious. And I said to myself, I'm so tired of feeling like this. Like, what is it? So I literally just started Googling all the feelings. I'm like, because therapists, I've been in therapy. Like, therapists can only take you but so far. Okay, yeah. You know, and I'm like, what is this feeling? Yeah. And then what came up? Anxious attachment. Oh, wow, yeah. I was like, oh my goodness. This makes so much sense. Like, when you have that revelation, like, when you come to it. Yeah. You know? Yeah. It's like, it hit different. It does. It hit different because you're like, I finally found, what is it, kryptonite? Or is it, what you call it, kryptonite? When you find, like, something that, you know, you have been enjoying but is bad for you at the same time. Okay, yeah. It's like, I finally, not saying that I enjoyed the whole process of life, but a lot of my habits a lot of things that, you know, I thought I enjoyed in the moment came from anxiously attaching. Yeah. Anxiously. Right. And that could be like to anything, even besides relationships, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like our habits, like anything, honestly. And it's like we don't even realize it, you know what I mean? Like, why am I such a heavy drinker? Why this, why that? But it's like, well, these things are going on in our minds and we not even realizing, like, damn, like, it's all tying in. So, wow. So, so have you ever, I know we talked about this a little bit earlier, but we talked about feeling trapped and victim mentality. Like, how did you start reclaiming your power back? A lot of self-reflection. And it's even deeper in self-reflection. But I really had to, like, speak to myself. Like, I would just be very transparent with myself, even if it wasn't things that I wanted to tell myself. Like, so sometimes if I'm having really bad days, where things are just kind of like out of order, you know, how I like to say, and maybe this can help somebody else. But sometimes when you're in that place where you just feel like super bad or super, you know, you might be depressed or whatever that negative emotion is that you may be feeling, understand that you can call it however you want to. I like to call it like divine intervention, or your higher self is pushing you to go higher. Right. You're feeling bad because your higher self knows that you can do so much better. Right, yeah. You could have got up 2 hours early. Yeah. You could have, you know, taken, you know, time to prepare better for your meals. Right, yeah. You could have actually did that 15-minute workout, but you didn't. And this is why you feel bad. Right. And so when you can talk to yourself like that and be honest and give yourself constructive feedback, that's how I started. Right. I didn't need anybody to tell me what I needed to work on. Right. And even if somebody did, I had already told myself. Yeah. So if it's like, Candace, I noticed that you might, you know, you're not really together like how you usually done. When you tell me that, it's like, you know what? You're right. Yeah. But I already corrected it, so it don't bother me. It don't make me feel like, oh, she coming at me. It's like, you know what? You're right. Yeah. You know, you take constructive criticism, or even when people are trying to come at you and they don't even have the right to come at you. Right, yeah. I like that. I still reflect, like, you know, do that person have a point? Right. You know? So that's where it started for me, like really just having honest conversations, really like looking at my feelings to find out where they were coming from and why, and not staying in that down spiral of, I'm depressed, I don't know. Yeah. I'm just gonna stay here. You know, maybe it'll go away. Let's set a plan to figure out where it's really coming from and what can we do better to you know?
Yeah, and like we said earlier, like taking accountability, like that's such like a big thing. And you know, like even if somebody tells you like, oh, you've been slacking or you need to work on this, but it's like you're not really gonna do it until you feel in your heart like it's time. Like they can tell you like, oh, you need to leave this man, or you need to get back on your shit. But it's like until you feel it, until you're really ready, everybody can tell you till your face turn blue, but it's like that something gotta click and you gotta be able to take accountability. Like, okay, like I see, like it's time for me to get on my shit, or this don't serve me no more. You know what I mean? So it's like being able to take that accountability is like super important.
It's needed. I feel like it's, you know, it's foundational. You're not really going to get to a proper solution or be able to cultivate a plan if you're not able to hold yourself accountable.
And it's like gonna all be like fake, you know what I mean? It's like you can't really get down to the real work if you're not being honest with yourself. Like, and that's why I feel like, you know, but we are making these choices, you know, I feel like we all do work and stuff like that, but it's like when we're not honest with ourselves, it's like, all right, I know we shouldn't be doing this, like you said on your video yesterday, like, you know, when we know like we're supposed to do something, like we gotta like prioritize that, and like sometimes we might just push it to the back burner, like, yeah, I know I'm supposed to do that, but I'm not. And then, you know, that's when we start feeling bad and all that. So, you know, it's hard to turn a blind eye. Once you know better, it's like, all right, I gotta do better. But
it's either you're gonna do it or you don't.
Right.
It's so simplistic. And some people, they say, oh, you so casual, you so this. It's just like, or they say, oh, you so hard on yourself. You know, sometimes when I share my stories and situations that I've been in, I don't, you know, I prefer for the person that I'm speaking to not be like, oh, that's so sad.
Right, yeah.
It's like, no.
Right, I made it through.
This is what, not even that, I made it through, but that was the choice I made.
Right, okay, yeah.
Okay, I looked tore up.
Right.
Because I decided to be in this relationship that I knew wasn't good for me, and this is the outcome.
Right, and I love that. Like, you don't have to feel bad for me. Yeah, like, I made this choice. I made this bed, now I gotta lay in it.
But I feel like some people have that approach because I think we all like to be coddled. Mm-hmm. Like, it's okay. Yeah. It's okay. But you can still do that, but you have to hold yourself accountable. Yeah. Like, okay, at a certain point in life as a child, I didn't have control over the things that happened to me. Yeah. But I have control now. Yeah, exactly. And that's where I got to. I'm like, I didn't have control then, but I definitely have control now. Right. And I have the ability to choose. And you have full control over, you know, your future. Mm-hmm. It's like, all right, well, what do I want to do with this now? You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to let this continue to break me or keep me stuck, or I'm going to, you know, move forward. I'm going to evolve, and I'm going to do the work. And you can't let other people create a picture for you. Right. People, I mean, you hold the power in creating the life that you want to live, you know, according to spirituality, my belief, the will of divines, you know. So, you know, we're allowed to do, and I give much gratitude for my life and just having the protection and the unconditional love over me to allow me to navigate life the way I've been doing it. So even in my mess, it's like, I love that. So what are some of the hardest parts of healing from like trauma bonds, and how did you break free from like repeating like certain patterns? So that's a really good question. I had to meditate on that for a little bit because I don't really think I try to be very transparent. Mm-hmm. That's what I came on here to talk to you, not to like be like a cookie cutter. Because I don't really feel like I've broken free from all the habits and all the patterns. Yeah. It's a daily work. It's a daily thing for me. Yeah. I might revisit a habit. Just saying, I do. Like, but I feel like now I'm more aware, so it's like I'm not lingering in it. So I might see it and I might dabble in it, and then I'm like, well, wait, remember? Girl, remember? Wow. And I'm like, oh, I'm good. Like, I remember.
myself back.
Yeah, so it just becomes a little less of a thing that you have to deal with.
Yeah.
So say the question for me one more time.
So, what are the hardest parts of healing from trauma bonds, and how have you broke free from repeated patterns?
Yeah, the hardest part for me is saying no. Like, because I'm so used to doing this way for so long,
right.
And now I gotta say no and be assured and have faith and know that me saying no is really, really for my benefit.
Yeah.
Not only for me, but for the other people that's in my life.
Right, yeah.
You know, so that can be hard. You know, sometimes, you know, you just are so used to doing things a certain way. Kind of like if you have a drug addiction or alcohol addiction, addiction or a food addiction. Am I saying that right?
Addiction, yeah.
Addiction. I'm talking too fast. Addiction.
Yeah.
Those things, it's the same way. It's like I feel like now when we expose ourselves to certain things, I feel like it's not something that's ever going to go away, but it's always going to show up in different ways at different times, and it like shows you self-development. Like, did I really grow from this? You know, how strong am I in this now?
Yeah.
I feel like it's always going to be a part of my life.
Yeah.
But again, making that choice.
Right. Yeah. No, I definitely agree for sure. So how would you approach future situations now to ensure that you don't get into the same type of relationship and stuff like that? Yeah,
absolutely. So I take things a lot more slower now.
Okay.
If I meet somebody, there's certain things, even with friends.
Yeah.
It's not, like you said, it's not just about a romantic relationship, but even with friends, I had to, recently just I just respectfully just kind of say, okay, we're going to go our separate ways. We no longer align with each other. It's, a respect thing.
Yeah.
So what's the question?
How would you approach future
Right,
situations?
okay. Yeah, so that's how I approach it, to make sure that I, first of all, know what I expect from the person, and having those boundaries, being able to speak even when it feels uncomfortable.
Yeah.
If I can't do certain things with you in the beginning, if I notice that there's some things that's off, instead of waiting or not saying nothing out of fear of losing the person, I accept the fact that it's okay if me and this person is not aligned, and that it's important that I speak up.
Yes, yeah.
So that's how, that's some of the things that I've changed, and they've been very helpful. Honestly, they have. And
but it's you can end up in situations you're not meant to be in, or starting a war within yourself,
or building up resentment against somebody. Or you can't. Time is way more valuable than money. Right. And there's no need to waste time when you can just kind of have those transparent conversations in the beginning. Or sometimes you can have a conversation and it turned out great, and you and the person can work through it.
Yeah. And it's crazy because I'm very I hate confrontation, and so some of my friendships and stuff, I would show up as a people pleaser, or I just want to speak on certain shit because I just don't want them to feel bad, or I don't want them to think I'm trying to be a certain way or whatever. But it's not knowing I was really damaging our relationship even more, and not speaking up about things that I wasn't okay with, or how I was feeling, trying to kind of please everybody, make sure everybody else was happy. But it's I wasn't happy, and then it's I feel like people thought I was a certain way, and then when I finally started to do the work, or I started to take care of myself, or I started to set my boundaries, it's well, what happened, Jazz? Who are you? You know what I mean? But it's well, really, this is probably who I was this whole time, but I was just not speaking up. I wasn't, setting my boundaries and stuff. So that is really important, especially we want relationships that are authentic. We don't have to fake it. You know what I mean? And it's relationships that are healthy for us. So it's if we speak up, especially if these people are supposed to be around us, if we voice how we feel, if we voice what's wrong with us, it's it shouldn't really drive them away. You know what I mean? They should be open to okay, I understand that. If it don't align that you guys aren't friends, or y'all don't take it nowhere, then cool, let's go our separate ways. But if this is something that we do want it to grow, and we can work through whatever's going, or, people that are for us are gonna be understanding of what we need, and like same vice versa.
One of the bigger things for me that's part of like what I do now is that builds my confidence up is learning. As I mentioned earlier about me, I love to learn. So if I learned how to approach conflict, what to say, how to say it, so that way I'm communicating to the best of my ability and giving space for the other person so that we both can feel comfortable. And sometimes the other person may not know how to receive it, but I like that approach.
I love that.
Sometimes people want you to have a certain emotional reaction. And it's like, no, and that's the thing about confidence. When you're confident in who you are and your core values, you kind of maintain the same character no matter what situation you're in, even if it makes the other person uncomfortable.
Right, it's hard to be swayed. It's like, I'm solid.
So. Because it's a part of your core. It's a part of who you are. So if we're interacting and you're a yeller and I'm sitting here like this, that's me. That's how I choose.
Right, and just because you choose to yell don't mean I have to put it up there. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so do you ever find yourself like getting triggered by certain things, and how do you manage those triggers now?
So I kind of get triggered. Sometimes I do get triggered. Sometimes I might think people view me in a certain way and they may not view me in that way. So sometimes what I'll do with that is I'll think about why I'm feeling that way, and then if I still can't really come up with something, then I may ask the person, just straight up, like, whatever it is that's bothering me. But sometimes I do get triggered, and I try to not really, I'll try to keep it to me first before I make any moves, because it's this book called The Untethered Soul. And sometimes when it comes to trauma and things that we dealt with, and like I said, the inability to release those emotions, you got to look at the thoughts in your head as a separate person. And sometimes it's the only person that know those thoughts are you. Nobody else can know what you're feeling inside but you. So I have to really evaluate the different things that's going on inside of my thought process to even figure out if it's worth mentioning. But that definitely is a trigger. I do have some, a lot of other triggers too, but again, I'm big on self-reflecting. So before I even take any action, I think about, it's all with us.
It is.
It's all with us. It's so easier to push things out on other people. But when you really, because you could take self-reflection as self-reflection, whatever.
No,
it's so cliche. But it's so important, because that can either, that can ruin relationships, or, it could build relationships. But the triggers for me, I realize, those triggers, sometimes people are crossing your boundaries, and that's one thing you can have a conversation. But most of the time, I find it could be the lack of healing, or still being in that process of
projection.
Healing.
I feel like a lot of times we can project, feelings or our insecurities, you know what I mean? We might think something about ourselves, like you said, we gotta self-reflect, because we might think these people are thinking this about us, or, the way they might have said something could trigger us or whatever. But it's is that really what they mean, or is that really what they said, or am I just thinking that? And that's when, like you said, we gotta be straight up and ask those questions, well, the way you said that, maybe didn't sit well with me. How did you actually mean it, or what did you mean? You know what I mean? Just getting that clarification, not making those assumptions. You know what I mean? Just clarifying that up. I feel like
it's important to know the difference between intuition and your anxiety. Surface level, and then intuition level. Surface and intuition is really important, because sometimes I can pick up people's energy and I'm spot on. And then sometimes I'm not. It's a part of me that just hasn't completely been dealt with yet.
But even being able to know, you know what I mean? which one is it? Is it my intuition or is it my anxiety? And I feel like, you know, our intuition is like more sure, more calm. You know what I mean? Like
it's not screaming at you.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It's like you know what I mean? Like in your core. So yeah. All right. So how like do you or how have you like cultivated self-love?
Yeah, so the way I cultivate self-love is having an overall like balance in my day-to-day life. Mm-hmm. Even accepting when I do have bad days.
Right, yeah.
Like embracing it all.
Yeah.
So my aromatherapy, my essential oils, making sure that, you know, the things that I really want out of life, that I'm actively achieving those.
Yeah.
And then just constantly telling myself that I know I'm a priority, that I'm important, has definitely cultivated like a new transition in my life. Sometimes I can't see it, right, but other people will come to me and be like, and then sometimes I look at myself and I'll be like, "Oh, wow, yeah, girl, there you go. Yes, I see you coming around the mountain." Yes. So yeah, I think like cultivating self-love for me is, I've started like this year doing different things, being around different people, and like really like, oh my gosh, like, you know how sometimes when you just been like through so much and you like just forgot who you was for. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, I remember I do like poetry. Yeah. Oh, I do hang like
sparks, like something. Like, oh that's like your inner child, like feeling. Yeah. You're like,
oh my God, like I do love, like I just started recently like doing affirmations and coloring. Okay. And I'm like, oh, I actually like this. Like so like before I dreaded being single. Right. Like, you know, like not having somebody. Right. And now I'm like, my life is really amazing. It's like, a whole new I'm learning myself so well right now. And I'm at the point where it's like, I'm ready to be able to embrace. First and foremost, I asked to have a friendship with the opposite sex. Mm-hmm. I feel like that really will help me to understand that not all men are just like out to have sex with me. Yes. So I used to struggle with that. Yeah. You know, from dealing with the sexual abuse. I used to always think like people wanted things from me in exchange for something else. Right. So yeah, being able to really like build true, authentic friendships and matching, being like around people who really don't they're on their level of healing. Like, you know, like matching, like being around with somebody, like, you know, say like if I do get triggered, you're so healed and like you like, girl, no. Right. But if I got with somebody else that wasn't really there yet, they might explode. Yeah, like bring you down. You tripping. Right. Like, girl, you ain't gonna say that to them. Yeah. But I've been like finding different spaces where I can really show up as my true self, and it's like we all are like on this journey together, but we're like at like a certain point where it's like I don't know if I can explain it right, but it's like we're just on the same phase, on the same vibe, where it's like, yeah, we still like got some things to work through, but all in all, like we're like healthy enough to like still intertwine. Yeah, and I feel like that's the beauty of like, you know, us connected and just like all the people like we've been around. Like I feel like everybody's doing their thing and it's so empowering, you know, especially like on those hard days where we have, or you know, we might be having a hard day, but we get on social media and we see, you know, our new friends or whatever. It's like, damn, yeah, girl, you doing the damn thing. And you know what? Let me get on my shit. Let me go outside and do my run. Let me go do whatever I need to do, meditate or whatever. Just seeing people who are also, you know, like-minded and then on the same path. And, you know, we're not all on the same exact path, but, you know, just seeing that is really, like, motivational. Yeah, I think the difference between being stagnant and really, like, growing is so like it means so much, because you want to surround yourself with people who want to elevate, and you can tell it in their actions, and it takes time, but you can really tell. Yeah, you can tell people's actions. For sure. So what are some daily practices or affirmations you use to maintain your mental and emotional health? So I like to just say I'm divinely guided and protected at all times. Everything is always working out for me. Yeah, that's one of my go-tos. Yes. Yeah, and recently, So just to give a little background, so my grandfather, my father are strong in Islam, you know. So I did take my Shahada in March during Ramadan, a little bit after Ramadan. And the most thing I love about Islam is the 5 daily prayers where you just give gratitude. Yeah. I mean, it's such a beautiful process. And I feel like a lot of religions have those core values that kind of help you focus. And I was thinking to myself this morning, like, I didn't do that transition, you know, because I'm garbed up and you know me, you know I'm a Muslima because I'm garbed up, or you know I'm a Muslima because of these things. I transitioned into Islam because I believed in the core values and the history, and it just also resonates with me so much. But I also resonate with other things too. And I tell somebody, I'm not your traditional Muslima. Okay, I'm not your traditional Muslima. I'm not. I promise you, I literally, like, this past year, like, my heart has been, like, drawing me to Islam. And it's like, it's like, it's crazy. Like, I'm still learning stuff and everything, but it's just crazy that you said that, because, like, I haven't, like, got fully into it, because it's like I believe, like, other stuff too. So you know what I mean? So it's like I'm not really sure, like, what I'm doing yet, but that's just crazy. You will figure it out. I mean, you'll definitely figure it out. So I mean, it's a process. It's your process, right? And if I could say to anybody, which I had to tell myself, I can't. Sometimes you can't look at the outside. Yeah. You really have to focus inwardly and find out. And find out what the Creator is saying to you. Yeah, that's facts. So how do you think that you have evolved over the years? So I feel like I've evolved in regards to being strong in my foundation, like as far as keeping my heart open. Like my heart is constantly evolving, trying to figure out what can I do to, make myself better. Right. But I feel like I definitely have more of a voice now. I've gained a lot of my self-esteem back. I'm much more confident. I'm much more focused and just open to receive. I feel like, I love that. That's how I've evolved over the years. It's been hard. It's been difficult. Yeah. But it was this thing I was doing, a somatic therapy, right? And it's interesting because you'd be surprised all the beautiful colors and stuff that's surrounding you when you do meditation, but you don't notice it any other time. And the one thing that she stuck out to me that's helped me, evolve more is to acknowledge, like, it's okay that, I'm fearful of this. I've been through this. Yeah. It's okay. Like, telling yourself that it's okay has been a big part of me. Yeah, I feel like that's important, telling yourself you're okay. Because that's where, like, a lot of anxiety and all that stems from, just not feeling safe, not feeling comfortable. And it's just like, when our nervous system is all over the place, it's like that's something important that we gotta, like, instill in ourselves. There's many different ways you can, be in tune with yourself, whether it be religion or however you choose to do so. It's just important to make sure you're being true to yourself. Yeah. Most importantly, everybody will always have an opinion, and I feel like when you're insecure and when you don't have that confidence, and it could be a lot more harsh to handle from the outside noise. Yeah. For example, going back to my transition into Islam, I came from being I was real heavy into acknowledging the fact that Hebrew Israelite, which I still feel is the thing, but I don't feel like it stops there. Yeah. Okay. So that's also a part of my process too. Just being able to just be me. And if people come up and have questions or they have things to say, being confident, and sometimes you don't have to give a response. Right, yeah. And the Quran or the Bible might say this, But this is my journey.
And I feel like at the end of the day, like I always like say, like God knows our hearts. You know what I mean? Like He knows like where our minds are at. You know what questions we have and everything like that. And it's like it's up to us and our Creator. You know what we decide to do, and it's not for like everybody else to decide that for us.
If somebody comes up to you and say, because whatever like spiritual, wherever you're at right now. If they were to come to me and say, "Oh, you're not garbed up. You're not a Muslima," just let me show you.
Right.
Take a deep breath.
Right.
I might smile, like legit smile at you and walk away.
Right.
Or like I might be like, okay, thank you.
Right. Thank you for your time, Tia.
But you know, like you said, it's God knows your heart, but also, again, back to the affirmation, I'm divinely guided and protected at all times.
Yeah.
Everything is always working out for me.
Always, yes.
So, I give thanks.
Yes, I love that. So, the last one is, what is some advice that you would give to somebody who's struggling with mental health, somebody who's struggling with anything from domestic violence, or just somebody who's not fine on the inside?
Yeah, being fine on the inside is a challenge, and it could take you a long time to like really realize that you're not fine on the inside. Yeah. It's an experience that I feel like, you know, it's going to happen whether we want it to or not.
Yeah.
What I would recommend for somebody who maybe doesn't know where to start and maybe don't want to speak to a therapist, or they just don't want to, they're not at that point yet, is to maybe put on a podcast, find something. It's kind of like you're fighting for your life pretty much. I feel like stay encouraged, because there's going to be a breaking point through those experiences where you're going to be pretty much put in a situation where it's like either you're going to grab the lifeline or you're not.
Right. Yeah.
And to know that inner voice is within you, to pay attention to it, because it's going to come a time, no matter how bad you might think your predicament is, that voice, whatever you want to call it, is going to reach out to you. Yeah. And I want you to try your best to grab onto it. Some way, somehow. Even if you can just get one piece of something that somebody said, grab onto it and start right there. Right. And then just trust the process. Yeah. But if you're alive for a reason.
Facts. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. And like you said earlier, like it's all a part of our story. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like we might go through the hardest things, but all of this is divine. We are divinely guided, and everything is working out for us. Yeah. And that's facts.
So I did want to share something about clove oil.
Okay, yeah.
Did we get to that about like the victim mentality and?
So we did talk about it, but yeah, I want you to show us all the essential oils and everything.
So I'm mainly just gonna focus on cloves though.
Okay.
Because this is interesting though. For me, the victim mentality, I didn't want to be a victim. Like I cringed the word victim, like, cause I didn't want to like be put in that space. Yeah. But for clove, it's known for not only for like, you know, oral hygiene, but I just want to kind of touch base on what it can do for you emotionally. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I might not read through all this, but clove supports individuals in letting go of victim mentality. Victims feel overly influenced by other people and outside circumstances. They perceive themselves as powerless to change their life situation. Right. Clove helps individuals stand up for themselves, be proactive, and feel capable of making their own choices regardless of others. I can definitely resonate with that. Clove assists individuals in letting go of patterns of self-betrayal and codependency by reconnecting them with their personal integrity. Wow. It builds up appropriate boundaries and defenses. Clove gives pushovers, because I definitely was a pushover, definitely. It gives pushovers the courage to say no. Yeah, wow. It reignites the inner fire and encourages individuals to stand up for themselves. It can assist when there has been a history of weakened boundaries caused by mistreatment, exploitation, repeated traumatic or compromising experiences. Clove is helpful in breaking free of these patterns by restoring the sense of self and helping individuals regain the strength needed to advocate for their right to self-contaminate and protection. Wow. And so some of the negative emotions is victim mentality, defeated, dominated, enslaved, fear of rejection, intimidated, controlled, or codependent. Wow. So you may feel like that, you want to use clove, and then it'll bring forth clear boundaries, courageous, independent, capable, proactive, and integrity. Wow. So that's
I had no idea that these essential oils brought out all of that.
Because I went to the dentist one time and they were saying I need like a deep cleaning. And for some reason I was like distraught. Like, first of all, I'm like, this is my rinky dink insurance. Like, you know, like the lower end insurance. I'm like, I'm about to get a second opinion. So I literally started going to a holistic like dentist. They treat you so much better there.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, I found out. I did my research. I told you I'm a learner, so I did my research. But then I dug even deeper. I said, well, why am I so upset that they're telling me I gotta get a deep cleaning? Right. And that's when I found out. Wow. Because all that, the push, being a pushover, being all like how you said, people pleaser, all that. Like that all resonated. And it's not saying clove is going to like change my life, but it's a tool that I use to help me,
You know what's crazy? You said like you hated being looked at as a victim or being a victim, and I felt the same way because when I first started like having a podcast, it was called Heal With Me, and so I felt like that was good because I was healing, but I feel like the word heal just gives like a victim-y notation, like, oh, I'm healing, like, you know what I mean? Like when people hear when people hear heal or I'm healing, it's like I'm broken. So it's like at the time when I first started that, I felt like, you know, I did feel broken, but I also knew I didn't want to stay there. I didn't want to stay in always, you know, I'm still in that space, you know what I mean? Like now I was able, you know, to do the work and to be fine on the inside, but that was one of the things that was like important to me, to not stay in that victim mentality and just know like, girl, you ain't go through all this to stay low. You went through this to be up and to, you know, embrace yourself, to love yourself, and, you know, to get to your next step, get to that self-development, heal yourself and all that. So, you know, not staying there. I feel like that's so decent. I never even knew about clove.
If anybody ever wanted to, like, you know, reach out to me, they can always, you know, reach out to me on my Instagram. And we could just, like, talk, you know.
If you want to, like, tell the camera, like, your handle and everything, and just let them know how they can reach you.
Yes, so you can reach me on Instagram. I love Instagram. I'm always on Instagram when I'm promoting my resources at IG-iamcreatednew, and maybe we can pop the link.
I'm gonna tag you
too,
everything.
So it'll be tagged on here as well.
So thank you so much for coming on. Thank you so much for all your gems. I feel like I definitely learned something. I feel like we really connect, so I love that.
The first time I seen you and I seen your smile, I was like,
hey girl, right? I'm so happy you came. But thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you again, Candace. I appreciate you so much. Make sure you guys grab your Final Insight journals.
Yes.
I am going to tag her link and all her handles down below. Make sure y'all cop up on her essential oils. Y'all heard about the clove. And there's even so many more things that she has to offer to help and aid in your healing and all that. So just make sure you guys hit her up. And make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. And we will see you guys next time on the podcast. Bye.